Sony's PlayStation division has just announced one of the most harebrained anti-consumer plays I've seen in my years covering the gaming news. And usually I say something along the lines of PlayStation fans are loyal, this really won't hurt their bottom line. This one is different. I do believe this is the straw that breaks the camel's sack. This decision will push some potential PlayStation 5 owners to pick up an Xbox Series X or even the S. If you own a PS5, fantastic, hang out, I got some things you might want to hear. And if you're in the massive camp that's been scavenging for a PS5 and hasn't been able to get your hands on one for a year and 9 months, you definitely want to be part of this conversation. So getting the bluff or bottom line up front out of the way, Sony is raising the price of its PlayStation 5 consoles in every region except for the United States or North America. So that means Europe, Canada, Mexico, Asia, and Australia. So every region of the world the consoles are sold minus America. Now the actual statement that was posted on the PlayStation blog cites global inflation as the reason that they need to increase the price on their consoles. Now Microsoft, Nintendo, Valve, Nvidia, AMD, etc. are all in the same boat. We all live in the same world, between the pandemic causing a silicon shortage to scalpers running bots and scripts ransacking these consoles, making them virtually impossible to get. These are conditions that are universal. Microsoft is facing the exact same ones, and they have yet to even hint that they are increasing the price of their consoles. So why is this such a massive deal? Well, first of all, this is unprecedented. Generally, consoles go down in price because they don't have modular parts or components. They're not upgradable like a PC where you can swap out your GPU or CPU over time. So what manufacturers, Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo do is around the middle of the life cycle of the console, they'll do a midlife refresh where they will release a smaller and more powerful version of the console. So for example, the PS4 Slim and Pro or the Xbox One S and X, and then substantially cut the price of the original console. But instead of going that path, PlayStation is actually taking a swerve to left field and increasing the price. Now, if you'd like to see the specific price increase for a region, this will be cited or sourced in the description below, but it looks like an increase of 50 ducats in Europe for the disc and digital version, 30 more DaVinci ducats for both models in the UK, an extra 5,000 yen, which is like $6 US, an extra 50 bones in Australia, and a PS5 in Mexico will now run you $15,000, not 14. So go ahead and sell the family Corolla and lock in your home entertainment. Now, as of current, the PlayStation 5 has 20 million total sales. That includes the digital only and disc version. And the Xbox Series S and X brothers have 14.9, we'll round up, 15 million sales. Now, I have covered there's been multiple months since the launch of the current gen consoles where the Series brothers have actually surpassed the PS5 in monthly sales, and I do predict we're going to be seeing a lot more of those months in the future due to these anti-consumer moves that Sony continues to push. So on paper, the PlayStation 5 is doing about 25% better than the Xbox Series S and X. That's just statistics and numbers. Let's go ahead and stand on the ground floor so we can get a better look at the whole situation. The PS5 was launched November 12th of 2020, which is 1 year and 9 months ago. So we're almost 2 years after the launch of the current generation consoles, and there are still gamers out there struggling to find these units on shelves or digital storefronts, wherever you're buying this thing. Yet, over the last few months, Microsoft has been quietly making deals that makes it sound like it's some back alley exchange, exclusive contracts for expedited silicon, which is working, and they are producing more Series S and X's. This has been seen by the fact that we are seeing more sales numbers, and the Xbox is starting to close the sales gap between Sony because these units are more readily available. So Microsoft's plan, their strategy, is working by them acquiring more silicon. So I know this sounds a little bit technical, like why the hell should you care about any of this? Let me summarize. Team Green is trying to get more consoles in the hands of actual gamers. Team Blue knows that gamers are still struggling to get these units, but they're going to go ahead and hike the price. Next up, I just made a news article just yesterday that Sony is being sued for $15.9 billion for ripping off customers globally, worldwide, but specifically in the UK for not taking into account conversion rate on games. Not to mention they have an absolute monopoly over digital games because the only place you can buy digital games, and keep in mind they sell a digital only version of their console, is on the PlayStation Network. It's been that way since 2018. So this news just came out a few days ago that they're getting sued for almost $6 billion for ripping customers off blatantly to their faces by charging 30 to 60% more on their PlayStation Network than any other storefront for older games. Obviously, new release games are going to be the same price across the board, but you look at a title that's maybe 8 months old or older, it's going to be maybe 20 bucks at GameStop for a disc, or maybe a digital code on Steam is dirt cheap, and then it's still 50, 60 bucks on the PSN. And this is very common. This has been going on since 2018. That's what the class action lawsuit's about. So the United Kingdom's already getting slammed on game prices, plus there's now going to be an increase in console prices that most likely will be more detrimental due to conversion in the UK. So Sony's public image is already being dragged through the mud, and their answer is to snap back 3 days later and announce that they're increasing the price of their console that gamers can't get their hands on. And while Sony's being looked at a little bit cockeyed by the gaming community, Microsoft just acquired Bethesda for $7.5 billion. I mean, that wasn't that recent. It's been a while now. But they're also in the process process of acquiring Activision Blizzard for almost $70 billion, meaning they're acquiring these massive game studios and they're going to be launching their new first-party games day and date on Game Pass. So any new Fallout, Skyrim, Starfield, when they get Activision Blizzard all locked up, Call of Duty, Candy Crush, Overwatch, World of Warcraft, Diablo, and all the other Activision Blizzard IPs are going to be on Game Pass, or at least substantially discounted from the Microsoft Store. So overall, this is just a harebrained, stupid move by Sony, and unfortunately, I don't think they're going to backtrack like Microsoft did when they announced that they were going to double the price of their online subscription service, Xbox Live, and then the next day came out on Twitter and all other socials retracting that statement, saying, nope, we're not going to do it. Sorry, it was a dumb move. I don't think Sony's going to do that. I think they're going to follow through with this price increase. Even $1 is too much, considering we should be going the opposite direction with price cuts to the console as we are approaching the 2-year mark, which is around the time midlife refreshes start getting teased and announced at events like Gamescom, which, by the way, has proven to be an amazing conference or event, and I will be doing coverage of that in the near future. And the last reason this is really bad is that Xbox is already a better value in gaming than PlayStation, considering they have the Game Pass subscription service, which craps all over PlayStation Now. I've made comparison videos in the past, library for library, content for content, but also they have the Series S, which I've covered extensively on this channel, and in every aspect minus graphical fidelity, as you are getting a third of the graphical horsepower versus the Series X and the PlayStation 5. Other than that, it is completely a new generation console. You have instantaneous load times with a solid state drive or SSD. Almost every title that plays 4K 120 on the Series X is 1440 or 1080p 120 on the Series S, meaning it still gets you high FPS gaming, that high refresh rate, but you don't really need a brand new TV with HDMI 2.1 because it's not 4K 120, it's 1440 120. That console retails for $300. Out the door with tax, you're looking at about $330. You get yourself an extra controller and a subscription to Game Pass, you have a next generation experience. Minus the graphics. I've got to caveat that. Somebody will be like, the Series S is not a next gen console. It by certainly is, in every definition minus graphical fidelity. It does quick resume, it does VRR or variable refresh rate, it does all the graphical tricks and buffs that the Series X does because it's the same software, it's the same operating system. The only difference is the GPU. I'm using air quotes because it's a console, it has an APU. I'm way off topic right now. Let's snap it back to how shitty Sony is. So while Microsoft has a $300 entry model and a $500 flagship, so now Sony is going to have a console that is about 15 to 20% less powerful than the Series X on paper. Keep in mind, I've covered the stats prior to these consoles launching. Every single component minus the storage, the SSD, is better, faster, more solid, more reliable on the Series X, but games still look great on the PS5 due to them being optimized very well. It just seems like more and more gamers are going to start cocking their gaze over to Team Green. Now I'm going to finish this video out by looking at selling factors of the PS5, reasons that people are looking at buying a PS5 over an Xbox Series X or Switch or Valve Steam Deck. Exclusives. PlayStation is known for having dank bangers, Sony Interactive Entertainment, first party, incredible experiences. I'm not going to name them all here because I'll run out of breath, but I'm showing pictures on screen here of some of their IPs. Well, that is becoming less of a selling factor considering Sony has officially announced they would like to have about a third of their games ported over to PC and half of their games ported over to mobile phones and PC by 2025, which I know that sounds a long way off, but that's the end goal by 2025, meaning they're already starting to port over a ton of their titles. We've already seen it with Days Gone, Death Stranding, The Walking Simulator, God of War, Horizon Forbidden West, nope, not Forbidden West, the first one, Zero Dawn, and in the very near future, Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy. So having a PS4 or 5 for their exclusives becoming less of an issue because for the first time, Sony is starting to port their games over to other platforms, PC and mobile. The DualSense controller, I'm not gonna lie, it's awesome. The haptic feedback is more accurate than sloppy rumble force vibration, and the adaptive triggers get stiffer or lighter depending on what's going on screen. It's pretty dope. And it has a built-in microphone, so your headset dies, you still have a way of being calmed up with your buddies. And yes, none of those features work on the PC. Granted, there are janky third-party drivers and patches you can download that'll try and force support for those features, but it doesn't work as smooth and fluid as it does on the actual console. That is something you would be missing out on. Also, the Pulse 3D headset, which is Sony's entry-level $100 headset meant to work with the PS5. I have reviewed that headset, and if you're using it on PS4, PC, it sounds like any other entry-level wireless headset with 40mm drivers. But if you use it on PlayStation 5 playing PS5 games, it works with the Tempest audio engines, which is the new audio drivers for the PS5, and creates this really nice virtual soundstage. You're not going to get that on any other console other than the PS5. So that is still a driving factor for people wanting the PS5, is the DualSense controller and the Pulse 3D headset. Next up, your friends all have PlayStations and you would like to be able to play with them. My solution to that would be play games with them that are cross-play so you can be on other platforms, or if you already own a PS4, just stick on that and play games that still are cross-generation compatible, which a lot of Sony titles are. Or convince your buddies to build a PC so you guys can all play for free on on PC. When I say for free, you don't have to pay for a monthly subscription to an online service like Xbox Live or PSN. If you'd like to read more about this topic, these articles will be cited or sourced in the description below, as I do anytime I cover any news in the gaming community or industry. And the thing is, Sony does not need to increase the price of the PlayStation 5 console. They're not going to go out of business. They're not going to go bankrupt. They're not going to foreclose. They're not going to have to borrow extra money from the bank or anything like that. I've seen their earnings report. They're doing just fine. This is a harebrained, cockamamie, anti-consumer move, and I'm not surprised because PlayStation has been doing this for years, multiple generations of consoles. I'm not bashing PlayStation. I'm not an Xbox or Nintendo fanboy. I enjoy all these platforms equally, but when one or any of them make a move this despicable, I'm going to talk about it. If you enjoyed the video, liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers. This information will reach and assist them as well, which in turn helps me grow this little channel, which I do greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover news in the gaming community and industry, tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing, as well as honest gaming product reviews, keyboards, mice, headsets, controllers, mics, chairs, etc. There are some hefty exclusive discount codes found only in the description of my videos and only for the audience here at Gamer Heaven. Check out Into the AM for some of the sickest looking and most comfortable cloth to ever grace my gaming giblets. If you don't want to be scorching your corneas with harmful blue light, check out Gamer Advantage, the only blue light glasses on the market that look sexy and actually work. If you're looking for a custom controller that'll blow the competition's tits back, AIM definitively has the best bang for buck or price to performance when it comes to Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch controllers. Nope, they don't do Switch, but they do gaming mice. I said doo-doo. I have links to all my other platforms and socials in the description below. If you need a quick laugh or blast of gamer adrenaline, check my short form videos out at TikTok. To get in touch with myself and the Stallions and Stallionettes of Gamer Heaven, join the community Discord, and check me out at twitch.tv where I go live every other leap year on a blue moon if it falls into an odd calendar number and my pH balance is on point. Just kidding, starting June I'm going to be live streaming a lot. Thanks for watching. This has been AK40 Kevin hosting Gamer Heaven, and I'll see you tomorrow because I upload daily, all the time, 60% of the time, sometimes, most of the time. Peace.